Hello.
Hi.
Patty, I love what you've done with your hair.
Oh, I didn't do anything today either. That's the best way.
Totally. Talia, you got in. Good.
I managed it. Hello.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll be back very soon.
Okay. Hi, Melissa. Hey, Katrina. Susan, you having trouble?
Good morning, Mary.
Morning. How'd everybody do this week with all the stuff that we talked about last week?
Well, in between everything that went on, I
Oh
thought
my
about it.
gosh.
Karen!
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Karen.
Excited to be here this week. I love the recording from last week.
Awesome. Even though the recordings are great, I still think it's really awesome to be live.
There's no doubt. The sense of community, it just felt so amazing. I felt like I missed a great deal.
There are some great women here. That's for sure. This is a great group.
Thank you so much for pulling us all to this. And to Patty.
My pleasure. Hey, Susan, I see that your audio is just going round and round. So my suggestion would be to click out and sign back in. Hopefully you can hear me. Hey, Heather. Hey, Stephanie.
Hi, Mary.
Hi.
How was your trip?
Oh, you know, Poland is just such a cool country. I mean, I think any place you live is cool, really.
Yeah, true.
If you
When you
take the
explore
time
it.
to explore it.
Yeah.
But Poland just really invites you to explore it and makes it really easy to do so. So it's nice. It's just lovely. It was a nice distraction.
Oh, that's good and wonderful.
Yeah.
Good to hear that.
And I love trains. I just love, I don't know, I just feel like I'm, you know, like coming just different. Like makes me feel like special.
Yeah, it's a nice way to see the country and relax at the same time. When you're not driving, you can enjoy it so much better, hey?
Totally.
Yeah. That's great.
Okay, looks like Kay is having, Kay, I've got you logged in here 3 different times.
I'm popular, I guess. I don't know how that happened. Sorry.
No, that's fine. It's fine. I didn't know that that actually you could do that.
I didn't either. I don't know how that happened.
Hey, Desiree, I didn't even see you
Morning.
up on there. That was fast. Hi, Teresa. Oh, Leanne is going to be joining us today. Hey, Kay.
Hi.
Oh, we have two Ks actually. So ladies, I have a question for you. I pretty much, because I was traveling, I pretty much left you alone this week. You know, a lot of times I'll send emails out or extra videos. Did you like being left on your own? Would you have wanted me to be more involved or bug you more or anything, or was how everything was going? Okay.
It was okay this week. Normally, I think I would like some sort of follow up throughout the week to make me
Okay.
keep thinking and just focusing on stuff. But this week it was okay because I was busy with my own stuff anyway, so it was okay. But
All right.
yeah.
And for me, hi, I'm Karen. I wasn't here last week, but I watched the recording. I probably don't have a lot of time during the week to participate, but I love checking Facebook updates. And if you can designate some time to finish up Wealth and Abundance before starting Emotions, I felt like, oh no, if she starts Emotions right away, I'd like to put some ribbons on some of those conversations from last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mary, I did enjoy the wrap up. I got an email from you this morning at 7:42 my time. And it was the wrap up on the wealth. And I really appreciated that because it kind of brought me into focus for today.
Yeah.
So thanks for that.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't mind being left alone during the week if we're going to get a wrap up like that. It's kind of I have to think about things before I am really able to put them into action. So that wrap up was great. Thanks.
Okay, super. No, this is, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we cover in each session. And I know that it takes some time to absorb it, but I also know that if I leave you alone too long, that life gets in the way. And especially with what's been going on in America, you've been way distracted this week. Can't blame you. But you know, even on a normal week, we can get distracted by everyday life. So I like to be, you know, like have people like nudge me a little bit. So I just wanted to make sure that that was what you all wanted as well. Just to make sure that we were all on the same path, because I don't want to get to the point where you see so much stuff coming from me that you're in overwhelm and you just stop looking at them, right? Because I've done that also. And so I don't want that to happen either. So. And there's my sister Bridget is in the room. I'm going through and muting everybody. As always, if you have anything to say or want to talk at all, please feel free to unmute yourself. Hey, Susan, I don't know if you can hear me, but I think you need to sign out, close out and sign back in again. Hi, Marla.
Hi, Mary.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you too.
Okay. Listen, you guys, I also want to thank you so much for participating, whether in the chat or talking, because we've got women in Singapore, Taiwan, India, watching the recordings, Africa also, that are watching the recordings, that obviously because of the time change, Australia, I'm not sure that Jan is going to be here today either. She has surgery tomorrow. So please, if you could, send her some love. She's going in for some cancer surgery, and so she had hopes of being here, but I think that would have, I mean, she may still show up, but.
Is that Jan, did you say?
Yeah, Jan Bradley, I think, Janne Bradley. She's in the Facebook group. For those of you that are in the Facebook group, please go ahead and send her some love, or yes, thank you, Marla. Yeah. Send her some love, and a message would be great, so that she knows that we're thinking of her. And also I had, oh shoot, one moment. And somebody else sent me a message. Oh, Katerina McLaughlin.
Yeah, I'm here, but I'm not showing my face because it's not good to show right now.
You know,
I don't know if I'm going to stay either.
Okay, listen, I totally appreciate that you're here. This session might be really good for you. It might also bring up some tears, which is okay. Katerina just lost one of her best friends to COVID over the past few days. So we need to send some love to Katerina as well. Thanks. Some good healing thoughts. So, okay. Anybody have anything that they would like to share from last week's session, or questions, comments, anything they experienced that they need to go over? Oh, hey, Sarah. Nice to see you. Anything that they need to go over before I start sharing my screen? We all good? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen just as I did last week, and get right in it. Session 2. Today we're going to talk about emotions, which is emotions, you know, that brings up a lot of stuff, lots of stuff. But we're in a good, safe place to be able to deal with that. So that's the flip side of it. There's the, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly about our emotions, right? So this session is gonna, we're gonna touch upon our own self-image, because we're looking back at ourselves, right? We've got that. We're coming up here out of body experience, right? And we're looking back on ourselves as this best version of ourselves. What is our self-image, and how, then what are the steps that we can take to get there and remain focused on us instead of looking outside of ourselves for the answer? What are those things that we can do that will keep us focused on ultimately what we want to see in our lives, how we want to reflect out to the world, and how we want our inner world to feel? Like, how do we want to feel on a daily basis, because our emotions, if we don't keep track of them, can send us down that wild rabbit hole. And this is all about keeping track of where we are, that self-awareness, keeping track of where we are, how it affects us and how it affects others. Asking yourself, am I acting from a place of self-confidence, or am I reacting to outer stimuli? Which that was really hard not to do this past week in America, was to react to outer stimuli, right? So, but that's what they wanted. They wanted everyone to come, you know, just like come out of this, you know, like have an out of body experience and get us all wigged out and us afraid as well. But the more that you realize that you're reacting to somebody else, then you get that pause, and you get to choose. You're the one that gets to choose then, which puts you back in the power seat. But if you're reacting to somebody else's stimuli, then they have totally won. And that's not where we want to be. This is another one of my favorite quotes, and this is by an incredible psychoanalyst. Actually, he was a cosmetic surgeon back in the late 1800s. He was born in the late 1800s. Pardon me. His name is Dr. Maxwell Maltz. And interestingly enough, my dad was the first one that introduced me to him when I was like a little girl. Because when my dad loved to go for car rides, and whenever he was in the car, he had a tape cassette. If anybody remembers what a tape cassette is. And he had tape cassettes of this program called Psycho-Cybernetics. And Psycho-Cybernetics was by this Dr. Maxwell Maltz. And it was like he was like the leader, or the guy who laid the foundation for the self-development, self-help movement. Dr. Maxwell Maltz. You make mistakes. I make mistakes. Your brother makes mistakes. Your daughter makes mistakes. Oh, here is Jan. I can't believe she's coming. God bless her. You make mistakes. Mistakes don't make you. Mistakes don't make you. If you took a piece of paper, you could write down all the mistakes you made, but they don't define you. They are life experiences is all they are. Hey, Jan, I just saw that you came into the room. So excited to have you here.
Hi, Mary. I've been trying to get on since 4 o'clock.
Oh my gosh. Well, we are happy to have you here. We're all sending you.
Just about to go back to bed.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're glad to have you. I'm gonna put you on mute unless you have anything that you need to discuss or chat about.
Sorry to disturb you.
No, not to worry. Not to worry. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about this Maxwell Maltz just for a bit here, because this is important stuff. So he was an American cosmetic surgeon back in the early 1900s. And the thing that kept him going in his profession was that he found that it wasn't that women needed plastic surgery, that women needed to release their limiting beliefs. Now, I'm not against plastic surgery. So, if whatever anybody wants to do with their body is their business. But what I'm saying is what he said, he was the writer of this self-help book called Psycho-Cybernetics. It was from the early 1920s. I have a recording of it, and it's still, everything about it is still
Mary,
today. Yes.
I'm sorry, there was something wrong with the connection and I couldn't hear. It's not that the women need plastic surgery. What was the end of the sentence?
It's not that women need plastic surgery. It's that women needed to release their limiting beliefs.
Oh, thank you.
Right? So he set out, so as a plastic surgeon, he set out to educate women on believing in themselves before he would ever accept them as a patient for plastic surgery. That's how strongly he felt about it. He felt that no matter what he was going to do to a woman, whether he was going to make them more beautiful than they already were, it didn't matter what he did or how the operation came out. What mattered is how they ultimately believed about themselves from the inside. So that's the kind of stuff that we're going to talk about today, is that inner dialogue that we have with ourselves, because we all have emotional scars. You know, as I was getting ready for this workshop, while I was up in the mountains this week, I was thinking about these emotional scars that we as women have. I mean, everybody has emotional scars, but I find that even though I've done vision board workshops for men, the scarring that women has is much more broad and much more deep. And as I was looking back on the other women that have participated in vision board workshops with me, I go back to thinking about the woman who was from Syria, who finally was able to escape Syria, and she moved to the Czech Republic just a few years ago. But her whole life, she's lived in war. And she got to the Czech Republic and she didn't know how to live because she was expecting a bomb to go off. She was expecting to be evacuated. She was expecting for that oncoming lion, because I mean, that was a real thing, except it was a human. Then there was the woman from Italy who was in one of the villages that went through the earthquake, and the building that their flat was in was the whole village just disappeared, but her building totally collapsed, and everyone in her family died except her. And she was dug out of the rubble, but everybody else died. So she came to this vision board workshop with guilt, shame, why me, all kinds of limiting beliefs. And then there's just I was just about to say the regular female stories of, like rape or women experiencing things that happen at work. I was fired because I wouldn't have sex with my boss. Like all of these, the list goes on of all of these other things that women go through. So mistakes happen, things happen in life, but they don't need to make you. And then there are like these fears, is to notice, again, here's that pause thing, right? That because this emotional scarring is so deep, is if you were today to draw a line in the sand, to draw a line and pretend that this was a threshold, you're walking through a threshold. What does it feel like to leave every story behind you? What could happen if you came into a room stripped of your story, stripped of what holds you, stripped of those lost loves, those lost hurts, those indiscretions, or those things that people have done to us throughout our lives. What if you walked through the door with none of that happening? So that's the thought that we want to get to today. We want to look at this as though we could wipe the slate. We could wipe the slate clean. Now, I am not for 1 minute suggesting that your story doesn't matter and that your story didn't happen. I am not for 1 minute saying that. What I am saying is that use that story, use that moment in time to propel you forward and take the power away from that person. Take the power away from the story. That is what I want you to work on today. How can we let it go? Because this is cool. It's also kind of sad. 40% of things that you think about on a daily basis will never happen. These are all the worries that we have, all the time that we waste. 40% of the things that you think about will never happen. It's time to get off the hamster wheel. But you can't do it unless you're able to be present and take a pause. 30% of the things have already happened in your past. Those are the stories. Those are the stories that we hold on to, that we carry around with us like they're our badge of honor, when really what they're doing is stopping us dead in our tracks. One big one for me has been how Lyme disease has changed my life, and how I have in the past let the fear of a relapse, or the fear of what it was like to be in a wheelchair, come into my mind, and how I shouldn't be the one to be delivering online workshops, because what if I've been there before? What if? Well, what if I am able to move forward? What if I pay more attention to my body and listen to my body cues? Can I then move forward more with some faith and some trust? So those are the 30% of the things that have happened in the past. Where do I need to set up my boundaries? Who am I going to spend my time with? Again, from last week, those energy vampires. Who am I going to spend my time with? And how can I follow my instinct and listen to my gut? So then there's the 12% of worries about health. And maybe now with COVID, that's gone up some. But in reality, if I'm in charge of me, if I'm doing the best thing that I can for me, without having the pressure of, oh, it's okay to meet up, or you don't have to wear your mask, or where is your comfort zone as far as this whole health issue is concerned? And how can you let the rest of the stuff go? The other 10% are petty miscellaneous worries. So this is cool too. Looking outside is letting your ego in. So if you're pointing your finger at somebody else, you are coming from a place of ego instead of pointing the finger back at yourself and going, what's my role here? What's my role? We all have the answers inside us. What are my answers? Where are my boundaries? And then the last 8% are real, legitimate worries. The real ones. So go ahead and worry about those all day long. But what I'm saying is that 92% of your day is wasted. If you're sitting on that hamster wheel, the only one that can get you off is you. You've got to think a different thought. You've got to get to the point where you can notice, where you are right in that moment. And that's that getting quiet, being self-aware. Knowing, listening to this gut that we have, listening to that thing that's like, oh, something's wrong. I need to chill out. So reframing fear is something that we're going to work on throughout the week. Starting on Monday, you'll get an email actually every day this week, Monday through Friday. As well as I'll be posting this in the Facebook group. And this is about reframing fear. It's about taking those stories that turn into excuses, that turn into burdens, that turn into us finger pointing. And we're going to go through that all week long and dial that back and be thankful for the fear. Be thankful for all of these experiences that have happened to us. And it may be kind of difficult to kind of grapple with that right now, but trust me, this is a really cool exercise. So one of the things that
I have a quick question.
Yes.
You said something really powerful. You said our stories turn into something, which also then turn into burdens. Can you repeat that?
You want me to repeat that?
If you remember.
No, Sarah, this is totally not scripted. I have notes here, but this is totally not scripted. So I could never go back and repeat anything. Okay. But you'll get it in the recording on Monday.
Okay.
Right? So, but this is a step-by-step process. Our stories turn into our excuses, which probably turn into burdens. Right? And then we're just going to dial this back. So throughout this time together today and throughout this week, what I want you to focus on is how cool life is, how cool we are as women. Like, we have superhuman powers. We make other humans. We raise other humans. We feed other humans. Like we've got these superpowers. And it's the stories that we tell ourselves. And what I'm going to invite you to do this week is to write yourself a letter. And you may have to do it a couple of times, but I want you to get to the point where you are writing, for instance, if you have somebody in your life that you just can't let go of, or you just can't forgive them, or you just don't get the goodness in them, or you are devastated by what has happened to you and you just can't let it go, then I'm going to invite you to write them a thank you letter. I don't want you to send it to them. We're going to do a whole ceremony around it. But whether it's a spouse, a boss, a family member, a coworker, whoever it is, I'm going to invite you to write a thank you letter to them to help you release the hold that they have on you. Because the more you think about them, the more you use them as an excuse, or it, or whatever it is that's holding you from doing whatever it is that you say that you want. The more that you're doing that, that thing, that person is in the power seat and you're not. So I'm going to invite you to write a thank you note, and I'm going to ask my sister Bridget to come on. Bridget, are you there? Because Bridget did this and she did it kicking and screaming. She didn't want to do it. And I didn't force her to do it. I probably did, really, because I'm her sister. But there she is. Yes. Okay. So Bridget, if you would tell about your experience of writing your letter.
So I went through a divorce that was a shock to me and had me on a tailspin. And I had a lot of anger issues regarding it. And Mary and I are super close. We probably we can't talk every day because she's in Poland and I'm in Portland, Maine, but we text and Facebook message almost daily. She's my best friend. And so she was there by my side the whole way. And as sisters do, they're very blunt, tell you their opinion. And when my sister said, you have so much anger issues, you need to write Tony a thank you. And I thought she was like a traitor. Like, what do you mean thank him? Like, I want to stab him. Like, why would I even consider thanking the man? And then she was like, exactly. You need to sit down and thank him for what you've been through. And I didn't really like my sister, but I let it go and I thought she was nuts. And I just didn't do the exercise for quite a while, actually. And I wasn't sleeping well at night. And finally, I got up at like 3 a.m. and wrote a hate letter to my ex-husband, how much I hated him. And it felt good. But to be honest with you, it only was like a page long. Like, it was like this long. That's it. And then, but it didn't and I turned off the light and I tried to sleep and it still didn't make me feel any better. So then I tried the thank you note way of thanking Tony. And I was scribbling and writing and writing and writing, and the pages were flipping. And it ended up being almost 6 pages long of all the things I actually could thank him for. And most of them I did find some very good qualities that he had that I thanked him for. But a lot of the event that happened to me actually ended up being a positive event. So I got positive things out of the divorce that I was able to acknowledge by thanking him, if that makes any sense. And I'm happy to give you some examples if you want, but I'm sure you don't want to hear my story. But and then there's one girlfriend in here, Susan Dabrowny, that was by my side as Mary. Mary suggested that I write this letter and I put it in an envelope and I invite all my girlfriends to come to my backyard, and we were going to burn the letter. They weren't privileged to it. I wasn't going to read it to them. It was me and my shit. And it was a full moon, and it was, I can still cry about it, just talking about it. It's been several years now, but it was just so momentum, like letting the smoke go, like, so. And then the next stage was, she asked me, and she's probably going to talk about this, is writing a thank you letter to myself for all the shit in my life and excusing myself for that junk that I label myself with. So that's it. That's my story.
So
Or
thank you. So so Bridget, like, how did it happen? Like, how did it come to you? Like, so you wrote the hate letter first, and then it was writing the thank you letter. So the thank you letter actually contained things that not only Tony, the good stuff about Tony, but it also was thanking yourself for you beginning to notice the good stuff in you.
right. And, the journey of going through the divorce and buying a house and being on my own, all those, it made me stronger as a person. Like I could, I could get the carpet ripped out from under me, but still be on my own 2 feet. So I learned things about myself that was very empowering. So I can, and it just made me realize something very tragic can happen in your life, but you can find the good things in it, but it took me a while. I mean, this didn't happen overnight. Mary telling me I needed to write a letter, and I was like, I really wanted to tell her to pound sand. And then the hate letter came first, and that didn't satisfy me at all. It was amazing because I thought it would. I called him every name in the book, curse, swear, didn't do me. It didn't help me at all. And then so, it was probably a half an hour later, I sat back up in bed and I was writing for hours, like hours. And it just kept coming. It just, and the thank you letter to myself came many months later. So this was a process. It just doesn't all happen at once.
Mm-hmm.
It was a journey. So, and I every once in a while I'd think of something else and add. I have everything typed now so that I can reflect back on it and add something. I'm done with this. This is like behind me now, but there was a time where I would keep adding as I would discover something else that I could be thankful for. But I've moved on, and I'm a totally different person from it. But now I thank her. I really wanted to not like her so much, but.
So thanks, Bridge. So that's where we're going to get to. And as Bridget said, it takes a while because we want to hold on to this stuff. We want to hold on to the stories. We want to, tell people and get them to be on our side. When in actuality, the only thing that's going to propel us forward is to look at those instances and look at that person that we were then and pull out the goodness, pull out the good stuff that we like about ourselves and leave the rest behind. Because as I said last week, every cell in our body is different from when we were a baby and or when we were a kid. Every cell in our body changes every year, every 7 years. So why are we still holding on to the stories when in actuality, there isn't a thing about us that is the same except for what's between these 6 inches right here in our head of stuff that we have made up and decided to hold on to. Because remember, a thought is just a thing that we put belief to. There isn't any such thing as a thought. Scientists don't know where they come from. They don't exist. We can't touch them. So why are we holding on to stuff that we are giving power to? Why not give power to the goodness that's in us? And see that the people that have come into our lives have come into our lives for a reason. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's, you know, it's a divorce or a hurt of some kind or a sexual encounter. We can let go of the story and look at what we learned about ourselves and about the people, places, or things that we no longer want in our lives. We no longer, we've learned what we need to from them, and now we're ready to move on. Now we're ready to go on. So on Monday, you'll see a workbook come into your email, just like this one, called Reframing Fear. And it's just a short workbook. It's just a short workbook. And what you're really going to work with is the last page, which is this. And we're just going to work through this, try to get you to work through these. It's called Reframing Fear because it's these thoughts that keep us stuck. And I want to help you get unstuck. So before we go and we get into the questions today, it's what's the one reoccurring fear that comes up for you all the time? You go to do something and all of a sudden you get a spark of something that's going to keep you stuck, or somebody that's going to keep you stuck. What are you most afraid of happening? Because a lot of times what we're thinking about is what we're most afraid of happening instead of what we are most looking forward to happening. Because when you're trying anything new, a lot of times what will happen is that we'll see that fear of something. Fear of being embarrassed, fear of falling, fear of not doing it right because we're doing it for the fucking first time. Instead of, I'm going to try this and I'm going to fail. When I was back in the mid 2000s, I was living in Arizona, and I was a productivity coach for Keller Williams. And one of the things that I used to tell the agents that worked for me in a coaching capacity was, I want you to go out and get 9 no's today. I want you to contact 10 people, but I want 9 of them to be no. I want 9 people to slam the door in your face. Because they can do that. But if you go out and tell somebody, I need you to go out and knock on 10 doors, and I need you to get an appointment, they can't do it. But to have somebody slam a door in your face, they know how to do that. They can go do that. So list the benefits that this fear has given you, because you're getting something out of the fear. You're getting something. You're getting another story, an excuse. You're getting something out of fear. Otherwise, you wouldn't let it run your life. List the drawbacks that you believe the experience, that if you were to have this experience, what is it? And you could close your eyes at any point during the day, during the night, whatever. You could close your eyes and you can recall an experience or a memory of fear like that.
Mary?
Yes.
I'm not sure if I understand the word drawbacks.
Drawback is a setback. Something that is bringing you backwards instead of moving you forward.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Yep. So when you are experiencing something out of fear, you can think about it, right? And then you can write down the benefits. Again, it's easier to talk about the negative than it is the positive. And these are really powerful exercises to do. Then you can list the drawbacks of if this experience had not occurred. Because there's both sides to the story. And what I'm trying to get you to look at is a coin. I just want you to look at the coin and see.
Mary, I have a question.
Yes.
I'm sorry. With like COVID and everything and having like a parent that's not doing well, like my fear is that my dad's gonna die. How do I use that to not like buckle? I can't find I don't know how to use that fear to help me.
Total I mean, I can't relate to what you're going through. I can understand what you're going through, and taking a look at now is the time to take a look at everything that your dad has given you.
Okay.
Because that strength, no matter what the outcome, will bring you closer to him no matter where he is.
Okay, I like that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And how has this event or experience helped you to become the person that you are today? And then, how's it going to show up in the rest of the world? How can you be the light for somebody else?
I love that. That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so as I always begin the set of questions that I go through with a verse or a meditation, and today's is by Marianne Williamson. And again, you don't need to read this. You're going to get this on Monday along with the recording, along with everything else. So you don't need to read it. But I'm going to invite you to go ahead and close your eyes, get comfortable, close your eyes, and take the biggest breath that you've taken all day long. Just like hold it in, like just like so long that you just want to burst, and then just let it out, like just let it out, because we're going to be dealing with emotions today. And as you go inward and start looking inward, hear this. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of the universe. Your plain small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest in the glory of God that is within all of us. This is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So imagine after all that's been going on this week in America, after all that's been going on in the world, the thoughts that you have about yourself and creating this vision, this best version of yourself. Imagine if you let your own light shine. Imagine what by you as one person allowing your light to shine. When people want to take the conversation in a negative way, they want to point fingers, they want to bring you down. Imagine, if you can, that what goes on in your gut, like how can you feed that flame in your gut and be that light for somebody else? Because it is not our light, but our darkness that most frightens us. And how can you be the light? Take another big, deep breath. And go ahead and open your eyes. And we're going to begin. If you happen to have this sheet of page 12, then go ahead and grab it. If you're working from a plain sheet of paper, then that is perfect as well. We are going to talk about emotions and relationships from that best version of yourself. That person that you see in your vision board, the person that you see in your dreams, doing those things you want to do, being that person you want to be, living that life that you want to have. That person is where we're coming from. Being accepting of myself.
Cami Sanchez, FaceTime video.
Hang on, that's my cute little granddaughter. Being accepting of myself and those around me. Being accepting of myself. I'm accepting of myself. All those stories are gone now. The stories are gone. They still happened, but they no longer define me. Only I can define me. Who are the people that I have in my life? Now that I'm this best version of myself, who are the people that are in my life? And how does my light, the light that's in me, the light that's in my eyes, when I walk into a room, what happens? Who am I now? Who am I right now that I have everything that I want? Who am I now? That spark that happens when I'm around other people. Like, how do I bring that up in every interaction that I have? Whether it's a business transaction, whether it's with a spouse, a child, a loved one, how can I bring that spark with me wherever I go? Kind of like the cloak from Harry Potter. He puts this cloak on and he becomes invisible. Well, what about if you put a cloak on and you become the light? By being present in the moment. Me being present in the moment has changed everything. My personal and professional relationships now look like this. I'm open, I'm present, I'm honest, I'm full of integrity, I have my boundaries set. This light is coming through. I am the best version of myself. I am so confident. I have stepped into this best version of myself, like Dorothy stepping into her ruby red slippers. Who am I now that I have my ruby red slippers on? My self-image has blossomed. Because this light, it's almost like it warms my body. I can't help come from a place of love because I've got this warmness about me. My self-image has blossomed. What are the important lessons that I have to share? Because there are things that I've been through, just like the things that you have been through, that no longer need to define me or stop me from achieving my goals. But there are those lessons, just like Bridget said, the lessons that she learned from this marriage, the lessons about herself, the lessons about the man that she wishes to be in a love relationship with, what she is instead of settling, instead of second guessing herself. Those are the lessons. What are those lessons that you've got that you can share? And sometimes you only need to share them with yourself. Sometimes you need to hear this stuff over and over again in order for it to sink in. But who else could you share these lessons with? Your kids, your another woman, your spouse, your the person that you're in a love relationship with, your partners. Who are these other people that you can share these lessons with to help them understand you better, to help you understand yourself better, to be able to look at your life experiences and look back and go, dang, I went through all that and I'm still this really cool, like awesome woman. I went through that. I've been through that. Those are the lessons worth sharing and worth listening to for yourself. That's why this letter is so important. With my goal in sight, I've got my goal in sight. That person that I want to be in the picture. I've got her in sight. One action step that you're willing to take to get closer to her. One action step. To get closer to her. To get closer to the woman in the picture. And it could be like if you've got I always tell people to put a picture of themselves on their vision board. So get that very best picture of yourself that you like and put it smack in the middle of the vision board. And remember who you were at that moment. You were feeling hot, sassy, sexy, confident. Feel that. Like get so that you can feel that. Because if you can describe that, if you can relive that, then you can be that because you've already been there. You just need to remind the subconscious that you already are that hot, sassy, sexy, gorgeous, fabulous, full of light woman. You just need to remind yourself of it instead of shrinking to fit somebody else's life or to fit somebody else's so that they're not fearful of you because you are so hot, sassy, sexy, gorgeous. Instead of shrinking, let's give a hand up to other women by being all of that that's in that picture more often. Because this isn't a magic pill. This isn't something that you're going to be able to do in that picture. You're going to look at that picture and bring yourself back to that moment that you were like on the top of the world. But in order to stay there, you've just got to keep doing it over and over and over again so that your body, so that your subconscious is saying, I want more of that. And it will guide you into opportunities, people, places, and things that will bring more of that about. Because the mind gives you more of what you're thinking of. So if you're thinking shit, you're going to get shit. If you're thinking for those of you in America, if you're thinking that America is burning in hell, then it's going to burn in hell. If you're thinking that you are this life that you've got, this dreams that you've got, that they are within your reach, then they will be within your reach, because that's the only way the mind works, because it's a thought that you're thinking. It's a belief that you're going to give it. No different than these other stories that we've been listening to on this hamster wheel over and over again. We're just learning how to change what happens. How do I need to be in order to make this stuff change? Once we tie it with emotion, once we tie that thought with emotion, it then becomes a belief. We're going to make some new, strong, positive, confident beliefs. One step you're willing to take. My life is valuable. I matter. I matter. I'm here, right here on this earth for a reason. My life matters. List the boundaries. List that line. List what happens when you have drawn the line in your sand in this better version of yourself. Who are you? Who have you decided not to let in? Who has no more use? Who has no more use of you? Where have you closed the door? Your boundaries of who or what you say no to. Wasting your time, the long lunches, knowing now that your time is valuable because you are valuable. Instead of allowing the day to just be on autopilot, where now are you taking back those reins and deciding, I need to do this because my life matters. The world needs my light. And if I become more in control of my time and my energy, then imagine what can happen with the world. Imagine what can happen with my business. Imagine what can happen with my relationships. Imagine how cool that child will be as I bring this child up. knowing that if you have a business or you want a business, knowing that your relationship with money is a value. The lessons that you have learned are valuable. The information that you have to share with somebody is valuable. Describe the relationship with yourself, with your light, in regard to your services rendered. What is it that you have to bring? And where is it that you're going to say no? I knew that I had gotten to a point in my career when I knew that my trajectory of success would go nowhere but up. When I was finally able to say to someone that wanted free services, was to say, I'd be happy to help you in another way. But in what you're asking me to do is not being financially responsible to myself or to my family. And that took a whole turn on how I viewed myself as a businesswoman, how I viewed my time. And it doesn't matter whether I'm in a doing workshops over at the university, or helping a student, a foreign student with their English, or working in a coaching relationship. It is, how do I value my time, and what are my services rendered worth? And who are the energy vampires that I have released? Because we've all got them. And, some of these energy vampires are family, and they're with us. But what can you change about yourself when you're with them? Because I have an energy vampire in my family that I cannot get away from. And I've had to change my view on her and my view of the time that I spend with her. And my husband had a tough time dealing with me when I would say, that's not something that I can do. Until he got it, that I was a much nicer person when I was not around this other family member. Or that if I was around this family member, that I didn't stay as long as everybody else. Or that I did it on my terms. I'll come for an hour. I will do this. And it wasn't until I started setting up those boundaries that everything began to change. Even her requests or demands of me have now changed, which has been the biggest win that I totally wasn't expecting. And who are you attracting into your life? So that could be in a love relationship, in a family relationship, in a business relationship. Who are those people that you're attracting into your life? Like when I look at that question, I'm like, oh, that's for me, that's so juicy, because there's a story for every person that's in this room, and there's a story for every person that's listening to the recording because of the time zone change. Like there's stories to each one of you as to why you're here. And it's so exciting that once you take a look at who are those people that you're attracting into your life. I am enough. I'm enough. Yet there are still things about me that I want to learn, that I want to do, that I want to go, that I want to have. What are those things about me that I could improve upon? What is there a person that, it could be in my same industry, it could be another mother, it could be could be a teacher, or what might be something from somebody that you'd like to have more of in your life? Like being here in Poland, Polish people are not known for smiling. They're very skeptical of people, which I totally get because of the history of their country. But when I ask this question, and I'm doing a workshop for a room full of Polish women, I always say, you might want to put that you want to have the trait of smiling more, because they never show their teeth. And me as the American, I always show my teeth. So it might be something like that. I'm not talking about something big, hairy, scary. I'm talking about, what are these like little bits and pieces of things, of this essence of somebody else, that essence of when they walk into the room, there's that something about them. Like, what is that something about them when they walk into the room? What is that I could help bring into my own existence? The universe has been very good to me. This best version of yourself. The universe has been very good to me. Success is. Success to me is when I look at my vision board and I'm able to like stand in front of it, and my shoulders back, and I can feel this energy coming from my board. And I know that I am it and it is me. Tell me that success story. Describe that success story. How do I walk? Am I lighter? Am I actually lighter? Write about the relationship that you have with yourself. You have this success story. You're standing in front of your board. You've got that energy just surging out towards you, like engulfing you. What is the relationship that you have with yourself? When you look at that picture of yourself on your vision board, and it looks back at you, that relationship, what are you sharing? What are those words that you're sharing about yourself, with yourself, to yourself? And then when you get up in the morning or before you go to bed at night and you're looking in the mirror, what are those words that you're saying to yourself? What are the words that you say to yourself when you look in the mirror? Best version of yourself. Not, oh my gosh, I've got another wrinkle. Oh my gosh, I got another brown spot here. Oh God, the wrinkles. Oh, I can't stand it. I got some gray hair. Oh no. Dang, girl, you're fucking hot. When do you get to say that to yourself in the mirror? Even on the bad days. Butt naked, standing in front of the mirror. Knowing that there are still things that you can do with your life. There are still things that you can, that you need to work on. What are those things? What are the words that you're going to say to yourself in the mirror? Oh, emotions. We get to see and experience our emotions when we're present. So be the present. Be the present to yourself. Pretend you're present, all wrapped up. And you're going to stand in front of the mirror like a little package right in front of the mirror. You're so excited as to what's in the package. You're so excited because there's something awesome inside there. And even if it's in your mind, think about you unwrapping this package bit by bit and letting it open it ever so slowly. What are those words that are going to come flying out of there? And they're just going to engulf you. Because you are so worthy. We just need to alter our self-image and stop the fighting between the conscious and the subconscious mind. Getting calm, getting quiet. Because it's that belief. A belief is a thought that you gave energy to. That success image, that image of you. With the mistakes. I'm not saying that you need to take the mistakes out of the equation because the mistakes are going to happen, but the mistakes don't have to make you. I am not for one moment suggesting or even advising that this is about perfection because it is the total opposite of that. This is about trying shit out and seeing how it feels. And if we don't like the feeling, then you go and search for something else. Because you are the one that's in charge. And what your success looks like is totally different from what my success looks like or anybody else's success image on this call. And you do not have to, oh shoot, what's that word I want? You don't have to be accountable to anybody else for your version of success. Because it's different for every single person. You just need to own it. Just own it. Just own it. Just know that you are the person that is worthy of that image, of your image, not my image, of your image. No matter what, no matter what, the excuses aside, the things that have happened to us aside, all of that aside. And I know it's easier said than done, trust me. Oh my gosh, trust me. I know it's easier said than done. I've been doing this work for a long time. But what if you woke up tomorrow and your goal had actualized? Describe that person emotionally. Face to face with your vision board. What's the vibration that your vision board is giving off that it wants you to step into? That cool version of yourself. You know, 2 years ago, I lived in Warsaw for 2 years. And Warsaw is a very fashion forward city compared to the city that I live in. And it taught me a lot because even though I spent my life, the first part of my existence, my career existence in luxury retail, I was never one for labels or brands, or I just had my look, like my way of dressing that made me feel confident and comfortable. But the women in Warsaw took it up a notch. Actually, people from Poland throughout the centuries have been known for their costume, for their look. And I was a little intimidated by it, to be honest with you, because they matched, their coat matches their shoes, matches their fingernails, matches their bag. And I felt like I stuck out like a sore thumb. And I already do as an American. I don't look Polish. There's nothing about my body. People see me coming and they know that I'm not from here. And so I had to step up my game in my dressing. Like I had to pay attention. Let me just say that I had the stuff, but I just didn't really pay attention because I knew that I had the clothes that fit my body type, and I always showed up nice, but I never took it to the next level, let me say. And I was just in awe of these women. So I asked some Polish women to help me to put myself together and said, how do you do this? I just don't I don't get it. But then when I moved here to the city that I'm in now, even though it's the third largest city in Poland, it's this was a very it was the textile capital of Europe, actually, at one time. But it's very worker oriented, and the women are not so put together here. So I kind of like, was like, oh, that's, I can take a step back. And it wasn't until I started building my vision board of what I wanted my vision and my life and my business and my home life to look like, that I was like, wow, there's that. If I could need to emulate something, if there's something out of somebody else that I'm looking to bring into my life, is paying attention to that how powerful that makes me feel when I'm put together, and remembering that I like that, and that makes me feel good, and it makes me feel confident. And so I've brought that back into my life now. I've been here for 2 years. So it wasn't something that happened overnight, or that I even noticed overnight. The whole COVID thing happened, and, I just really didn't pay attention to it, and would go days without, changing out of my pajama pants, or, putting anything else on than leggings, and not wearing a bra around the house, and, like not putting any makeup on, and then trying to get some work done. And it just didn't seem to flow, because I wasn't in the flow. I wasn't in the picture. And it was interesting to me to see how that stupid little thing, and it doesn't mean that I have to get dressed up every day, but I have to, before I set about sitting in front of this computer and delivering programs, is, what do I have to think about myself when I'm sitting here? And what do I need to do to get me to that spot? What's that success picture that's going to help me deliver the best possible workshops that I can deliver, the best possible message that I can deliver? What do I have to do, even if I'm home and I never leave my house? Who do I have to be? Who do I have to show up as? For me and for you. So now, throughout this week, you can go ahead and start looking at images about what this emotional side of you, who are those people you're going to surround yourself with? What do you bring to them? What do they bring to you? This is a vision board by one of the girls that went through the university program. She was from Ukraine and came to Poland because Poland, believe it or not, has the second most, I'm not sure popular is the word, film academy in the world, other than in America. So this is where Roman Polanski's from. We're all a bunch of other international filmmakers, movie producers, directors, all of that come from, is actually the city that I'm in. This was known as the Paris of Central Europe back in the day. And this girl came to, she was not working, but she volunteered her time as an editor of films to schools and nonprofits and things. And so she decided that that's what she wanted to go to school for. So she came to Poland to see if she could get into this film academy. But then once she got here, she became full of fear. Now, here is this really extremely talented young woman. and she became full of fear that she wasn't good enough. And through this process, this vision board process that we went through together, what she uncovered, and I'm saying this for everybody in this room, because this is what where these fears come from. She didn't know anything about the school. She never took the time to go visit it. She never took the time to go interact with anybody on their Facebook group. She came over here and she got scared that she wasn't good enough. But she didn't even know. She had no right to believe that she wasn't good enough because she hadn't done the work. She hadn't even done the work to figure out if she was good or bad. So I said to her, no, sorry. You have no right. You have no right to think that this isn't even a legitimate fear, in my opinion. Until you tell me that you've been to the college, that you've talked to a professor, that you've interviewed some of the students, that you've seen the students' intake video, you have no right to tell me that you are not good enough to go to this school. So where is it that those fears or those stories have stopped you? And uncover it, uncover the false truths, uncover them. Because it's just a belief that you gave energy to. It's a thought that you turned into a belief. You don't have any right to do that. She had no right to be in the head of the professor who was going to interview her. She had no right to make shit up about what he was going to think about her. I mean, when I say that, does it not sound ridiculous? She was making shit up about somebody, about a conversation she was going to have with somebody that she never met, about what he was going to think about her, and he doesn't even know her.
Hey, Mary?
Yes.
What about the fear or the excuse to not to start to something is because that we experienced it before and we experienced that it doesn't work. No matter how great your idea is in your head, there are just some circumstances around and they just don't let you. I mean, this is how I thought that the circumstances didn't let it happen. And I didn't know how to go through those circumstances. I did the best of my knowledge, but my knowledge was not enough. I'm talking about like dance classes, for example, that I was giving, right? I had the experience that Warsaw had become a workshopaholic. So people, instead of going into the depths of one teaching and trying to reach the root of this teaching, and from that root actually feeling all other branches in the world, they just want to eat a little bit from this branch and then go to another one. And they actually, I mean, you are constantly at this era, are fighting for the attention of someone, and then you turn into I don't know, Facebook marketing maniac. And I didn't want to be that person. I didn't like that version of people whom I knew before, and I could see the way they were marketing themselves, and it just sounded totally not sincere, and I didn't want to be that. And then, you just stay and you have one person or two people, and it just doesn't worth it. I mean, financially, it doesn't worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that these people will again go to another workshop because everyone is feeling like, okay, I already got enough. So I found myself like saying, I have a baby. I don't have time to invest in something that I know it's not going to work. but I'm not really sure right now after listening to you, if this is true or it is fear.
Great question.
I'm not even sure if I was able to ask, but I'm really glad that you got it.
So this is what I'm going to say about that. And this is my own experience of all of this workshop stuff, because there are plenty of other people out there doing vision board workshops, for instance. Couple of things. I had to believe that my message was unique. I also had to realize that there's something about my client that only wants to get the message from me. And I had to figure out who that was, and that instilled a tremendous amount of fear in me, because I didn't see that as an abundant way to do business. I saw it as scarcity. When in reality, once I dug down and started questioning people that were following me, questioning people that took my workshops, questioning the people that came back and wanted more workshops, that I began to uncover who that person is that I need to be talking to, instead of talking to anybody. Once I valued my time, I valued my business, I valued my profession, then all of these other people disappeared. And lo and behold, the other interesting thing that happened once I got to that point was that people had no problem paying me, no matter how much they were paying me. Whether they were sponsoring somebody because they felt that this was a worthwhile project that other women needed, or they wanted to go through a private coaching sessions, or whether they wanted to do, I do assessments, whether they wanted to do assessments or group coaching, all of that became possible, became sought after once I began to follow my own success journey of who I am in that picture. Because I imagine that in your profession, just as in mine though, really, there are people that want to attend your workshops because they love dance. Or for me, they want to attend my workshops because they love self-development work. But the people that are going to stay with me and follow me and want to go deeper, or have other questions, or want more, or want to sponsor other women, want to be involved in another woman's growth, it wasn't until I believed that they then could believe. I don't know if that helps you out at all.
Well, it puts more worries at this point, but I guess it's okay. Because then comes the question, do I worth it? I mean, do I know enough for them to come to me? Because, you know, it is a never-ending story then. I mean, you can study all your life. And, I mean, it can be anything basically, but yeah, but it's a good point. Good point.
What do you want the outcome to be for the people that attend your classes? And if you were to put on a program, what are you going to lead them through? What experience are you going to take them through? What kind of person are they going to be at the end of it? What do you want their outcome to be? Talk about that journey. They come to dance for a reason. What's the reason that they come to dance? And this goes for everybody. You just replace if it's a business that you're, working on, or an idea that you're working on, replace that with this word dance. It's the same path. What's the experience that you want them to have? Just like, I mean, if you think about it, if you watch Netflix at all, and you watch any of the series, and you do these binge watching, stupid series, my God, I mean, honestly, what's the carrot that they leave you with wanting? What's the carrot? Knowing that you are the perfect teacher for them, for that person, for that one person, because whenever we're marketing, whenever we're conceptualizing, excuse me, whenever we're conceptualizing our ads or the stuff that we're putting out on Facebook or any of the social media mumbo jumbo, you're talking to one person. What's the oh shoot, what's that word? I was going to say icon, but that's not right. Anybody understand what I'm talking about? What's the description of that person that you're talking to? What's her age group? What's she do for a living? How much money does she make? Where's she from?
It's your avatar.
Avatar. Thank you, Sarah. And that was the fear that I had when I first started all of this online stuff, which was when I was in Arizona in 2007. I started my first blog, and I was so fearful about talking to one person. But every single one of you is that one person that's in this program, or that has been through my vision board workshops in the past. You're the one to deliver the workshop. Why are you the one? What is so unique about you that makes people want you? And you're right about Warsaw. Warsaw is, it's almost gotten a little too showy for me. Warsaw is all bright and sparkly and shiny. It's such a fabulous city. There's so much growth going on there. There's so much money in Warsaw. There's a lot going on, and people are excited. Like, people haven't had money like this in Warsaw before, and they're excited, and they want it all. They want to try it all. But that's not the person that you're after. And you have to ask people. Like, I'll call up people. I'll Facebook message people and get on a call with them and say, can I ask you some questions? Like, why me? Why are you here? What's so special about me? What don't you like about me? What do you like about me? What do you want from me? So again, just like Christina in this image of this vision board, she didn't ask the questions. She had already made up shit that the professor was going to think about her, or that the other students were going to think about her, without ever asking. And it takes time. And it doesn't mean that it all has to be done tomorrow, which is a cool thing. Because every day you're going to learn a little bit more. The people that follow you on Facebook, send them a message and say, why do you follow me? What can I offer you? And over time, it's interesting to see the from 5 years ago. It's interesting to see, because I always put these questionnaires in a folder, in my Dropbox folder. So I've got them done by years. And it's interesting to me to see how this progression happened. You can see when the script flipped in my delivery of things, and my belief of things, and my value of things. Because I used to think, oh, this, I've done vision boards all my life, right? And I was like, oh, that space is covered. It's not. It's not. Because no one was, like, who else was like there when they were raped when they were 10 years old? That had a husband that she found fucking the neighbor when she was breastfeeding in the other room. That she was fired because she wouldn't sleep with her boss. That let's see, like this, the story goes on and on and on. Right? No one has my background. No one is also an etiquette trainer. No one else had the President of the United States as a client. No one else had spent 20 years doing human behavior work that I bring into these programs. So I can say that for this space, for these people that want this kind of vision board, because not everyone wants to go deep on their vision board. Not everyone wants all this, wants to dig this, go through this. They just want to make a pretty picture and put it on a board and say, I'm done. But I want your board to move you. I want your board to move people. So that's what I bring to the table. And only I can bring that. So who are you? Again, this is for everybody. And this isn't stuff that you need to get done right now on this call, because when you go to listen to the recording, more stuff will come up, just as Bridget said about her thank you letter. It's, you gotta allow, because we get so tight, we get so, like, you're like really pushing against everything you want when you're all tucked and tight and stuck in your head. It's not until you can breathe and let your shoulders down and go, okay, I am enough. What am I going to say? What are those messages that are going to flow from my pen when I'm coming from a space of I am enough? I want you to write that story. That's the story that moves mountains. Anybody else? I hope that helped, Talia. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay. So as far as being stuck or not knowing who you are anymore, or being have lost your depth of emotion, what do you do specifically with those people in your life that really drain you, or have remained the same even though you've appealed to ask for a little bit of change, as I have changed a lot since the time I was a young adult. And some of it is for better, but most of it, in my opinion, from who I was way back in the day, is for worse. And all that stuff eventually, and the emotional vampires too, and the physical vampires, all that stuff led me to a nervous breakdown 3 years ago. And I just don't have any, oomph in me anymore. And I can't even concentrate to do something. I used to do interior design, from soup to nuts, and to concentrate on stuff is like, I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. And I quite often go to bed feeling not nurtured, and I wake up feeling exhausted and not nurtured. So, I mean, I could talk on and on and on, but basically, yeah, that's where I am. And I just have no aspiration to do much anymore. And I have amazing talents, and everything I do, in my opinion, is full of heart and soul and talent. And yet I really don't have time for it. And when I do have time, I'm exhausted to approach it. So.
Okay. Well, I can't wait for you to hear the recording.
Awesome.
Because you gave yourself the answer. It's getting back to allowing yourself permission to be fabulous again. Giving yourself permission to be fabulous, and looking at your past clients and going back to that place when you were it, you were on, you were in it, you were passionate, you were fabulous, you were with your perfect client, you were doing the perfect work. It's going back to that place and recalling it, because it's in your subconscious. You've been there before. It knows what it feels like. It knows how to feel. But you've chosen to look the other way. And by addressing who am I in the picture? What is the vibration? What is the feeling that I want to get when I'm standing across from my board? Where is that client? What does that client experience of me? What do the vendor's experience of me. When I walk in the door, am I a hot mess or am I on it? And they know that I'm the it girl. Because you've been there. You have proof. You have proof that you've been there. Now, the energy vampires are going to take you down because your light is way too freaking bright for them. And you scare the shit out of them. And that's the only reason that they're energy vampires. And if you allow them to dull your light, then that is totally from fear of what they're going to think about you. And who needs to give a rat's ass?
Exactly.
You have proof. Go back to your proof. Go back to your customer files. Go back to those images that you have of them. Go back to the feeling that you got when you were there before, because your body still has it inside. And you just need to recall it and say, it's okay. I want that feeling again. Instead of being fearful of it. Because all you are right now is you're fearful of your light, Susan. You're just fearful of your light. And it can be that way. It can be that way when we do so well, when we get so high, when we're on top of the world. It can be scary. It can be scary to think, oh my God, how am I going to stay here? And then bam, all of a sudden we hit rock bottom. But what if I've surrounded my clients, dug deep, and have my clients in place that love me and I love them? We are joined, we are one. What if I am with those people? Then there is no reason for me to not shine my light. And Susan, right now, with the interest rates the way they are and people wanting to stay in their home and redo their homes to make it the most precious, perfect place for them to be, especially during this time of COVID, you should be out there with a bucket load of clients. If you release the fear, you are the perfect person for them. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
It's not so much the fear. I actually really don't have the desire to be in the industry anymore, because my brain just doesn't operate the way it used to. It's a long story. It's just that I've lost my zest for most things because of a lot of external factors in my life that still transpire every day, regardless of my appeals. So, I do have aspirations, especially joining you the past 2 weeks. Plus I've been mentally and writing it down, installing it in myself for changes in 2021. But most of the time I just feel like this empty shell. And so, and it has a lot, it's accumulative. It's life's accumulative. So maybe one day I'll get back into interior design. And you're right, with the interest rates and all that stuff, I should be out there. But I'm trying to work on self-healing, especially since the nervous breakdown, because I've not been the same. So.
The thank you letter.
Yeah.
The thank you letter of what those times taught you about yourself. There's a lot in there. And what do you want to feel like?
Are you asking?
Oh, yeah.
Appreciated, alive,
Joyful.
connected.
Okay. That's all in there.
It seems like I'm always making that effort, whereas it's not coming from where I need it to come from.
Got it. And still, what is that one step that you can do? If you can't expect anything from anybody, what is it that you can do for yourself? Because in all actuality, we can't. When we expect things from somebody else, we're going to be let down every single time, most of the time.
Yeah.
People always say to me, "Oh, how can you be so merry all the time?" Well, I joke, "Oh, it's my name," but no, I just don't expect anything from anybody. I don't expect that they're going to show up. I don't expect that they're going to have their work done. I don't expect that that they'll do it. Anything. Grandkids, husband, clients. And then when they do, I'm like, "Oh, wow. This is cool. Thanks." But other than that, I just don't. And then I can always come from a place of awe, of walking through over the threshold for the very first time, of, oh, wow. And I've never had a nervous breakdown. I'm not saying that I know what it's like. I don't know. I have no idea. All I'm saying is that you can only control you. You can only control your thoughts and your vision. You can only, if you're expecting somebody else to move mountains for you, you'll be let down every time. And don't put yourself in that spot. Because you've already proven that you are talented, fabulous, smart. You've already proven all that. So talk about the things that you have control over and go there. And know that this is not a magic pill.
No, it's not.
Right? This takes time. This self-development, self-healing, self-awareness. This stuff takes time. And we have to allow ourselves the time. But we have to keep moving forward. You can't stay where you are, because that does nothing for nobody. That's like, you end up on your deathbed and you're going, oh, fuck, why didn't I do that? When you're the only one that can flip the script. No matter what the script is.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And this, again, this is like for everybody. This stuff it's there's a lot of stuff here. We women, we got stuff going on.
Oh.
Does anybody else have anything that they need to say or?
I just have a brief comment.
Yes, okay.
Or question, comment, whatever it is. When you mentioned the writing the letters, the thank you letters to ourselves, first meant to the people. I've got more than one person that I was popping up that I need to write letters to. And then, so in my mind, I'm thinking, so I'll write my feelings about what they did and what they gave to me and anyway, and then maybe compile it together so I'll still have the same thank you to all three of them at the end. Does that make sense? Do most people have more than one person? Is that okay? I guess
Yes.
there's no rules. There's no rules, right?
I think that you can do this. You can do this as many times as you need to. And the interesting thing is, what I believe will happen is that you'll see some sort of common thread.
Oh yeah. It's all to prove to me that I am a strong person, which I've had that proven over and over and over, yet I still doubt it. So I get it.
But you don't
I
give
see.
it to the person, right, Mary?
No, you don't give it to the person.
Yeah.
No.
Mine are dead, so
Okay,
not
perfect.
a problem there. Well, I give it to them in the universe, but
That's right. Yes. And I do think that it's a valuable ceremony to do full moon burning.
yeah. I've done this before, but obviously I didn't do it completely because there's still something coming up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know inside when it's complete.
Yes.
Because it's no longer, you feel that sense of freedom.
Yes.
It's a feeling, not a knowing. It's a feeling.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Correct.
And I have one thing to say. I don't know if Talia is still here.
No, I think she's left.
It's so much easier for me to see something in others than in myself. What a surprise. And for her, I just had one word, is joy. That I just feel like what she would be offering in a workshop, that dance, someone offering dance, the people experiencing should experience joy. Just that one word. I work with a friend of mine who's a professional dancer and just do exercise classes. I am not a dancer. And that's what I was asking to myself. What is it that Tony, my friend, offers that to everyone that continues to come back to her? And it's joy and fun and joy. Joy is the one word I would say.
That's
Anyway,
awesome.
I don't know if that's helpful to Talia, but
I'm very glad that you said that, because I know that Talia will be listening, will be watching the recording. So, and I'll send her a message to keep a lookout for that. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Mary. I love this. I love everything about you. You're so inspiring. This is really, really more than I ever dreamed it would be. Thank you so much.
I'm glad for that. Glad for that. I'm sorry I kept you on so late. I just realized the time, so I'm very sorry. And as I ended the session before, may I always see the truth. May I always speak the truth. May I always feel the truth. I love you so much. Namaste. And I'll see you next week. Ciao.